What's up everybody, Camro here, and welcome to part 45 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be looking at how to edit our Pokemon using events. First, I'm going to show you how to edit a starter Pokemon after we've received it, and do things like make it shiny, edit its moves, we can even edit its level. There are a lot of things we can edit, and I'll dive into all of those. Next, I'm going to show you how we can edit just the first Pokemon in our party, how we can check if it's equal to a certain species, how we can sweep our entire party and check if there's an entire species there. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to do to sweep through our party and look for specific Pokemon and then edit them. With that said, let's get into it. So what I've done here is I have made a nice little test map, and on the left here are the 3 Pokeballs and Professor Oak. And when we select a Pokemon, let's make it shiny. And it's really easy to do that. I'll start here with this Pokeball on the left, which should be Bulbasaur. Cool. So this is the event logic for giving a player a Bulbasaur. Pretty straightforward. It does PB add Pokemon, and then it does things like choosing starter equal off, starter choice equal 1, control switch A. So I think we've covered all of this in a previous tutorial about selecting starters. So let's make it a shiny Pokemon after we receive it. So right after we receive it as a Pokemon, we can insert a new script command. And what we're going to do here is a little bit of stuff to get our Bulbasaur and then set it to be a shiny Pokemon. So what you can do is just type in poke equals, and there's a whole bunch of ways to do this, but essentially what we're going to be doing is calling a script that will select the Bulbasaur for us. There is a lot of things that we can do, but let's just do last Pokemon. What this will do, I'm not finished, but what this will do is just get the last Pokemon in our party. So for example, if we have 6 Pokemon, it'll call the 6th. Since this is at the very beginning of the game and we have 0 Pokemon and then we receive 1, we have 1 Pokemon, so calling last Pokemon right after we receive our starter should theoretically still just give us our starter. There's a lot of other different ways that you can select your Pokemon. Like for example, you could do trainer.party 0, and what that will do is get the very first Pokemon in your party. So 0 would be the first one, 1 would be the second one, all the way up to 5. It's a programming thing. Sorry, 0 is the first. But yeah, trainer.party 0 will get you the first Pokemon in your party also. There's a lot of stuff you can do. We can do this. So now that we've got poke equal to something, or pokey, depending on how you pronounce it, you can do poke dot make shiny. So what this will do is it'll get the first Pokemon in your party and then make it shiny. There's a whole bunch of other events that you can do. I'm going to go through a list of some of them right now actually and break them down for you. So I'm going to also link this in the description, so be sure to check that out. But there's another thing that you can do, like poke.set ability, and you can plug a number in here. So the way that abilities work in Pokemon Essentials is 0 is the very first ability that the Pokemon starts with. That's its natural ability. And so is 1. 1 is also the second natural ability. If we look at our Pokemon PBS, we can see this. Like for example, Arbok has ability 0, ability 1, and then its hidden ability will be ability 2. So we could do set ability, oh gosh, that's not, there you go, ability 2. So that way our starter will have a hidden ability. That's pretty cool. One other thing that we could do is call poke.ev. This will change the EVs of the Pokemon. So the way that poke.ev works is in the brackets, you type a number. You type 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 is health, 1 is attack, 2 is defense, yada yada. So let's make it so that way its attack EV is equal to 255. The way EVs work is they're a number between 0 and 255. So if you wanted to, you could really max out all of the EVs of your Pokemon. It'd be a little bit ridiculous, but you could, if you wanted to, do 0, 1, you know, and so on and so forth. Make them a really buff Pokemon. You can also change its gender, you can change its form. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could change in this. So if the Pokemon has multiple forms, you could set that equal to 1, 2, 3, 23. Poke.make male. I think that should be a lowercase. You can also do that for make female. So yeah, One thing that you should do after you edit the stats of your Pokemon, so for example, editing the EVs, or like I'm about to show you, editing the IVs, you can do that too. It works the same way as the EVs, where you do 0 for health, 1 for attack, and so on and so forth. But these are a value between 0 and 31, I think, so if you want to max out EVs, you could set those all to be 31. But anyway, after you do anything that would edit the stats of your Pokemon, you should call Poke.CalcStats. What this will do is it'll calculate the stats of your Pokemon after you've edited them and apply them to your Pokemon. If you don't call Poke.CalcStats at the end, then this other stuff above it won't work. It'll still make it shiny, that'll still work, all the other stuff will still work, but if you do anything that involves editing the stats of your Pokemon, please be sure to call Poke.CalcStats at the end. So, in summary, the way that this event should work is, it gets your Pokemon at the top, it edits your Pokemon in the middle, and at the end it calculates the stats. Let's see, if there's any other cool things I want to edit, let's see. Another thing that might be cool to edit is Poke.Happiness equals 200. It's a value between 0 and 200, so that you can give your starter at maximum happiness. I don't know if that's a good idea. It's probably not a good idea, but if you want to make your starter really happy when you got it, you could do that. You could do Poke.setItem, and then type in the name of an item right here. Like, you can make it so your Pokemon starts with a nugget. That's pretty cool. After set item, be sure to put a colon here, and then in all caps the name of your item. Yeah, cool. So now what we've got here is a Bulbasaur that's shiny, has its hidden ability, has maxed out health and attack EVs, is female, has maxed out attack IVs, has 100 happiness, so 100 out of 200. It's holding a nugget. That's pretty freaking good. Ooh, another thing that's really important too. Let me show you this. Let me show you two things, actually. These are both really important. So one thing you'll notice is, if you're using the script box, sometimes it runs out of space and you can't type anymore. You hear that? Let me show you something. In your Pokemon Essentials folder, doink, is a little executable called extendtext.exe. If you double click it, it should be running right now. You can go back in. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's a lovely extended text window. And now, it's extended a little bit more. It's really more for horizontal stuff. I could probably use semicolons here to split these up if I wanted to call them more, but if you ever find yourself running out of space and you have really long lines where you're calling a whole bunch of functions, try using extend text. It'll make this window a little bigger. Anywho, let me show you another thing that's really cool that you can set for our starters. We can do Poke.pb_learn_move, and we can give ourselves a move. So like, we can make it so that way our Bulbasaur, if we wanted to, we can make it so that way it starts with Solar Beam. Boom. So one thing that's really cool about PB_learn_move is if the Pokemon has 4 moves, it'll take the first move and overwrite it with the new move, but it'll bump the other 3 up. So it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I could visualize it for you, but essentially it'll give, if you have your Pokemon has 4 moves, it'll overwrite the first one, bump the other 3 up, and then put your new move on the bottom. Pretty straightforward. So what we've got here is a nice little event that'll give us a super crazy Bulbasaur now. So let's run our game and receive our super crazy starter Bulbasaur that's super cranked up, super strong. Let's take a look at this. Here we are. This ball contains a Pokemon caught by the professor. Choosing Pokemon isn't on. Okay, so now I set it on. So you want Bulbasaur, the grass Pokemon? Yes, I do. Thank you, please. No, thank you. Cool. So, our Bulbasaur is holding a nugget. He is shiny. It already knows Solar Beam. And he should have beefed up stats. I mean, he's level 5, so it's kind of hard to tell, but they will be beefy. He's a beefy boy. But yeah, so we got ourselves a shiny. And he's holding a nugget. So that's pretty nice. So that's how you manipulate your starter Pokemon. Like, once again, there is a freaking long list of all the different Poke things that you can set. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm going to put that in the description. Please check that out. You can set their level, you can change their nicknames, you can give them Poke-risks, you can change their nature if you want. That's pretty important. You can change a lot of freaking stuff. So That's basically the core of it, though. You get the Pokemon, you modify it, and then if you change their stats, you calculate stats at the end. So now that we've gotten a basic example down, where we only have one Pokemon on our team, let's get a little bit more complex examples. You'll notice that I've got these two guys here on the right of the room. This guy is going to check to see if the first Pokemon on our team is a Gyarados. And if he is a Gyarados, he is going to make it stronger and make it shiny. If it's not a Gyarados, he's going to give you a really rude message. So, actually, no, I don't want to run the game yet. Let me open it up and let me show you his event logic. So the way that this guy works is he says, bring me a Gyarados. It better be the first Pokemon in your party. And then I've made a conditional branch. If you want to make a conditional branch, once again, you can just do insert, go to the first page, and it's right there, conditional branch. And then I went to the fourth tab here for script. And then here is where I plugged in a whole bunch of script stuff, which I shall now explain to you right here. So what I did was very similar to the previous script where we checked the Bulbasaur. What I'm doing now is basically the same thing. I'm calling $trainer.party0. That's getting the first Pokemon in our party. And then I'm calling .species. So what this does is it gets the species of the first Pokemon in our party. And then the double equals is how you compare. So this is it checking. So if the species of the first Pokemon in our party is equal to pbspecies.gyarados, you have to do the pb species in front. This is what you have to do, essentially. But if the species of the first Pokemon in our party is equal to Gyarados, then he'll do all this stuff. Otherwise, he'll do this stuff. So if your first Pokemon is of species Gyarados, you'll say, yay, I'll make him shiny and make him strong. And then he'll do what we did earlier, where it gets the first Pokemon in your party, it edits him a little bit. I made it give Pokéris, make shiny, did all this stuff with the EVs and IVs, and then it calculates the stats. So we've all seen this before. Nice. If we really wanted to make this event a little bit more advanced, we could make it so he could only do this once. So after he does this, we could make it so self-switch A turns on, and he'll say, now I must go. Goodbye, with a billion E's, and then he'll fly away. We'll make a new event page where if self-switch A is on, he's just gone. Cool. So now he'll only do this once. So you can't just keep on bringing him Gyaradoses. Like, you could catch 20 Gyaradoses, bring it to this guy, and he'll make them all shiny and make them all have Pokéris and max IVs. Now he'll only do it for the first Gyarados you bring him. So that's nice. So if the first Pokemon in your party is not Gyarados, he'll say, you don't have a Gyarados, be gone! And then he'll cast you aside. Not really, but let's test it out now. It should work out perfectly fine, but let me show you. So right now, I actually have no Pokemon in my party. Let me talk to this guy. What's he got to say?
Bring me a Gyarados. It better be the first Pokemon in your party.
Oh no! The game crashed. I guess it's because I don't have any Pokemon. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So this will only work if you actually have Pokemon on your team. Otherwise, it'll check to see what the first Pokemon in your party is, and it won't be able to find any Pokemon, and the game will crash. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you should really only be calling these if you have Pokemon to begin with. So what I've done here is I've actually picked up the Bulbasaur from the start, and now the game won't crash when I talk to him, thank God. Since now I have a Pokemon on my team, I will be able to call the first Pokemon and check their species. The error before that caused it to crash was it said, hey, what's the species of Pokemon 1? And I didn't have a Pokemon 1, so it was like, hey, we can't find species, and then the game crashed. So now I can talk to him. Bring me a Gyarados. It better be the first Pokemon in your party, or I'll crash your game. Oh, he didn't crash the game, but you don't have a Gyarados as the first Pokemon in your party. Be gone! Alright, well, let's do a little bit of some debug magic, actually. Let's, let me, debug, just give myself the demo party, actually, because I think that actually comes with a Gyarados. Cool, let me back out of here, take a look at our debug party now. There it is. So I got a Pikachu. I'll talk to him. Bring me a Gyarados. You better bring me a Gyarados. Oh, that's not a Gyarados. What the heck? I told you bring me a Gyarados. Okay, well, instead, let me switcheroonie. So now that I've got a Gyarados in front, as you can see when I highlight it, its species on the right there is Gyarados. So let's see what he has to say now. Bring me a Gyarados. It better be the first Pokemon. Yay! Here, I'll make him shiny and strong. Now I must go. Goodbye. Okay. That guy disappeared now. Lovely. But now we can see our Gyarados has Pokerus. It's shiny. It's strong. Look at that attack. Ooh, he's level 20 and he has 73 attack. You kidding me? Good gosh. Yeah. Now he's a good boy. Cool. So that worked out perfectly fine. Just be sure that when you're calling these events to compare Pokemon, that you actually have one that's, you know, that's able to be checked. If you don't have any Pokemon in your team and you try to call this, your game might just crash. So yeah. So now what we've got here is another guy who's going to check to see if we have a Pikachu in our party. And if we have a Pikachu in our party, then he will edit that Pikachu. So since this Pikachu could be in the second slot, the third slot, or the fourth slot, it's kind of meaningless to check all of them and say, hey, if slot 1 is Pikachu, if slot 2 is Pikachu, if slot 3. What we're going to do instead is just comb through all of our Pokemon and edit that Pikachu. So the way that we do this at the very start is with a conditional branch. It's another script. What you do is call PB has species with a question mark, and then put Pikachu here. So what this does, this particular function checks to see if you have a Pokemon of species Pikachu in your party. What you could do is type in any Pokemon here and it would change. So you could say PB has species Machop, and it would say if you have a Machop in your party, this will be true. If you don't have a Machop in your party, then this will return false. So if you have a Pikachu in your party, then it'll say, oh, it's a Pikachu. Would you like me to make that Pikachu shiny? If you don't have a Pikachu in your party, he'll just say, hey, if you bring me a Pikachu, I'll make it shiny. Otherwise, go away. Cool. So what that does now is it says show choices. Would you like to make the Pikachu in this party shiny? Yes or no? If you select yes, it'll do this big script command, play a sound effect, tell you that your Pikachu is shiny, and then he'll say yippee. And I'll make this guy fly away too. Why not? I think that was funny. So control self switch, make it A. And then make a new event page where if self switch A is on. Cool. Easy peasy. So let's break down and deconstruct this script command. The way that this works is it uses a for loop. For every Pokemon in the trainer's party, if the species is equal to Pikachu, so basically for every Pokemon in the party, it checks that Pokemon's species and compares it to Pikachu. If the Pokemon is of species Pikachu, then we'll make it shiny. And then set the variable of 1 to the Pokemon's name, and then break, and then end, and cancel out. This break will make it so that way only the first Pikachu in our party gets made shiny. If I have 2 Pokemon, and the reason it does that is because of setting variable 1 and all that stuff. We don't want to have like multiple being called. Anyway, let me just simplify this for you. This loop right here is also called in a debug or in a default map that comes with Pokemon Essentials. I've since modified it. It was the Deoxys Meteors. This just says for every Pokemon in your party, if it's Deoxys, modify its form. What we're doing here is making it so that way if the Pokemon is of species Pikachu, then we'll make it shiny. We could do another thing now too here. So one thing that's important in this method is instead of editing Poke, like P-O-K-E, like we have been previously, we're doing P-K-M-N. And the reason we're doing that is because that's what's in the for loop. If we wanted to, we could say for Poke in trainer.pokemon party. It's just the name of a variable here. So this variable is P-K-M-N, so that's what we're modifying. So P-K-M-N dot, we could edit his EVs if we wanted to. We could edit his moves if we wanted to. Let's see. I believe learning moves. Actually, no, let's do set item. Let's give him an item. Let's give him, I don't know, an Oranberry. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do. So essentially, if we have a Pikachu in our party, we will do all these things to the first Pikachu in our party. And then the reason we do the PB set here is so that way later we can claim that Pikachu is now shiny. So what that does is it gets the name of your Pokemon. So it sets this text variable or this local, this variable that we're using here to be the name of our Pokemon. If we wanted to, we could edit the name of our Pokemon too. So let's do that. pkmn.name equals, and I believe that's how you do it. Let me just make 100% certain. Yeah, that's how you do it. Cool. We can name him Bobo. Cool. So now when we call /v bracket 1 is now shiny, when we say that in our text command, it'll say Bobo is now shiny. It's just a dumb little thing, but there you go. Let's test this out now. So if we have a Pikachu in our party, it's going to change its name to Bobo. It's going to make him shiny. It's going to give him an Oran Berry. And it's going to do all these things. Let's talk to him. Oh, it's a Pikachu. Would you like me to make the Pikachu in your party shiny? Yes, I think I would. Bobo is now shiny. See? So it changed his name to Bobo. And then it made him shiny. And it did all this stuff. It gave him an Oran Berry too. It even played a little sound effect. And he says, yippee, and then he flies away. How happy. What a nice man. So here we go. There's Bobo. What a lovely name that is. Cool. So if you ever find yourself wanting to edit the Pokemon that you have via events, you can absolutely do that. There's plenty of events where you can check to see if the Pokemon's in your party. You can check to see, you know, what the first Pokemon in your party is. Like, if the first Pokemon in your party is a Gyarados, then you'll edit it. So you can get pretty nitty-gritty. If you want to make it really simple, like, let's make a new simple one real quick. Let's make it so that way there's a guy, and he says, I always make the first Pokemon have a hidden ability. I unlock their potential. I mean, if you wanted to, actually, you can make so this guy's like something that you could pay for. We could do that. We can make him like a little merchant, so that way you pay him to unlock your Pokemon's abilities. You could say, I forget what the exact way of checking the player's gold was, but I know that's essentially reducing their money, where you then decrease it by 500. Okay, I think I know how to do it. Conditional branch. If the gold, if the player has 500 or more, then this guy will say, show text, want to pay, I'll say pay 500 bucks. Pay 500 to unlock your Pokemon's potential. Gosh, if I could type. If you don't have 500, he'll say, you're too poor. Go away. Simple. But if you do have 500, then I'll do show choices. Let's see, I'm still a little rusty when it comes to all this. Let me find it. There it is. It was the second option. If you select yes, cool. So if you select yes, it'll subtract 500 from you, and then what it'll do is it will get the first Pokemon in your party. Let's see, trainer dot, man, why am I blanking on this right now? Trainer dot party 0. Oh yeah, Poke equals dir. Excuse me. Gosh. Poke dot ability. I believe that was. Oh, sorry. Set ability. Gosh. 2. And just for fun, we can call Poke dot calc stats at the end. And that's it. And then he'll say, pleasure doing business with ya. And if we really wanted to make it fancy, what we could do is call this, where it was pbset1 poke.name, and then call /v1. Let's do that. And let's also make it so it's a guy. Or a girl, you know, whatever I select. Let's make it this guy, though. This black belt who will unlock our Pokemon's hidden abilities. Peak set 1 Poke dot name. Cool. And then show text slash v1 now has its hidden ability. Cool. And if you select no, he'll say, fine then. I'll be here. Cool. So now we've made a nice little NPC who will charge you 500 Pokebucks to unlock the hidden ability of your Pokemon. And he will continually do this for the first Pokemon in your party. So the text isn't perfect, but functionally, this should work just fine. Let's show it off, shall we? So let's take a look at our Gyarados once again. Our big buff Gyarados that is shiny. Its ability is Intimidate. Cool. Let's go talk to this guy now. I always make the first Pokemon have a hidden ability. Unlock their potential. Want to pay 500 to unlock your Pokemon's potential? Yes. Pleasure doing business with you. Gyarados now, it's its hidden ability. Really now? Does he? Does he? It's Moxie. Boost attack after knocking out any Pokemon. That's a goddamn good ability. Yay. Our Gyarados has been modified. Let's test this again. Let me super test this. So we've got ourselves a Pikachu. Let's make it so our Pikachu is Bobo. Would you like to make Pikachu in your party shiny? I would. Bobo is now shiny. So now we've got our Bobo again. Now let's talk to this guy and let's pay him again. Also, let me check my my money so I'm confirming that it's subtracting. I got 2,500. So after I talk to him, I should be lowered to 2,000. Want to pay 500? I do. Pleasure doing business with you. Bobo now has its hidden ability. Cool. So he referenced Bobo by name. Oh my gosh, he has Lightning Rod. There we go. And my money, 2,000. Cool. So that's working perfectly. So you can do a whole lot of really interesting stuff when it comes to modifying your Pokemon. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if there's anything that I should have done instead. I hope that I covered all the topics properly. But, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff to be covered. Once again, I must stress that there's a lot of really good info in the description. There's going to be 2 articles that I'll link for the Pokemon Essentials Wiki that'll also be a wealth of information. You know, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. And yeah, I'm sorry once again about being so distant on the Thundaga Discord. I'm recently rejoining it and talking a little bit more, but yeah, I've been so freaking busy, man. But like I said earlier, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope it helps you make some awesome Pokemon fan games in the future. Thank you again, and I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye, guys.